Coming to you live from deep within a dry and windy and also sometimes sunny radioactive meme land. We are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse, the few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the froggy hordes with Rant number 88. YouTube censors wrongthink. We're going to be talking about how YouTube will be censoring people who obey its guidelines, but YouTube just doesn't like anyway. And also how I am, how do you say that word? Prescient? And
Prescient.
I predicted this. Prescient. And I predicted this. Well, not that it was difficult to predict, but I did predict it in my fuck YouTube video. How to fuck YouTube video.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? They can't terminate your channel. They can't take your videos down, but they can withdraw a whole bunch of the normal things that we're used to, like being in the suggested videos, the algorithms that direct traffic to the traffic of people who are interested in content like yours to your channel. All of those things, and they can essentially isolate those videos that they don't like and make them essentially unsearchable for anyone who doesn't have the name of the video, the link to the channel, and stuff like that. And they also have said that they want to get rid of ratings and comments and things like that on certain videos that don't violate their terms of service, but that they feel are bad or mean or whatever, right? And that would actually really, really impede, because a lot of what happens on these YouTube channels, and I mean, like, you have big YouTubers like TJ Kirk or whatever, right? You have slightly smaller ones out there. And it's not so much that there's an interaction between the content creator and the audience, but that the audience has an ability to interact with each other and hear what each other have to say, right? And so if you get rid of comments and you get rid of ratings, what you end up with is it's essentially TV. You might as well be watching TV. There's nowhere to put your thoughts down. There's nowhere to say, yeah, I agree or I disagree. There's nowhere to talk to like-minded individuals about it. And so it's just like, because I never expect when I comment on, say, a Wall Street Journal article or something like that, that the author is going to even read my comment, right? But I'm there to talk to the other readers and the community and put my opinion down somewhere, right? And I really like that. And I've gotten into the habit of not even clicking on articles that don't have a comment section, right? If it's not something I'm extremely interested in, something new to me, I'm not going to bother reading it. I'm not going to bother clicking on it if there's no comment section, because I'm going there for the comment section. I'm not just going there to be a passive observer, passive reader. I'm there to also engage with other readers, maybe the author, right? And that's YouTube's planning to get rid of all of that. So essentially, they're going to make the videos that they target in this way so unappealing to an audience that's accustomed to that kind of interaction, that kind of ability to put down their own response, their own thoughts, all of those things, that people are just not going to show up. So I think that's what they're thinking. So
Indeed. And so a while back, I did a video called How to Fuck YouTube, and I said that, the problem with staying on YouTube is relying on their distribution system, and this is exactly what they're taking away now. They're not gonna cancel people's channels. They're just gonna take away the distribution system, so you don't get listed under any of the related videos. You don't get seen by the people who are searching for terms related to your content. You essentially become a ghost on YouTube, and this is gonna suck. This is really gonna suck.
well, and what gets me too is because their terms of service are vague enough. Their community guidelines and their terms of service and all of those things are vague enough that they should be able to even have a political agenda and discriminate based on political agenda and remove videos that are actually egregious, right? They should be able to do that. So there's really no reason to have this kind of woo-woo, soggy, smushy, second-tier penalization. There's no need for it, because anything that, in my opinion, if I heard it from the SJW side, anything that I think would be remotely flaggable would be covered by the terms of service, right? Would be covered by the very vague community guidelines. And so essentially what they're doing is they're bringing or whatever in videos that they would be targeting in this way. There's like not even if you squint real hard, right? So it really is just it is just a way of getting around their own terms of service.
So we're going to apply additional punishments to you that are completely not even covered in our terms of service, which are vague and difficult to define to begin with, and broad and easy to bend. It's it is what it is. But this is why I even before we got the community strike, I was starting to focus on just uploading reduced streams to Honey Badger Radio. Not relying on taking our reliance on YouTube's features off as much as possible. And also telling people, and I'll tell you guys now, you need to be following Honey Badger Radio either on, Twitter probably eventually go this way too. You need to be following us either on our blog, on Libsyn. You need to be following us through email. If you go to www.feedthebadger.com, you can sign up for our email list. You need to be following us another way. Minds, yes, of course. Sorry, how could I forget Minds? You need to find another way to find us, because this way is probably going to go bye-bye. And I've had, since we made the change to unlisting the main streams and just leaving up the shortened streams, I've had so many complaints by people who are saying, oh, you're changing your business model. Damn straight we're changing our business model, because if we keep this business model, YouTube is going to fuck us. So go to www.feedthebadger.com and find all the other ways you can follow us and find us, and do it now while you can still hear my voice. And don't wait. Don't say, oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. Next week, next month, you may not be able to find us on YouTube. Okay.
I wanted to add something.
Sure, go ahead.
Since this YouTube thing has broke, Mr. Mercator and lots of other YouTubers have been talking about it. Some well before this happened, like we saw the writing on the wall. But since this happened and it's basically been made official as of yesterday, vid.me has seen tremendous growth. Tens of thousands of channels have opened up there. So the guys who are running vid.me, I hope you see this as an opportunity to really expand your platform and make it real competitive to YouTube, because if YouTube continues on this path, it's you have an opportunity to destroy it by essentially providing your platform with the options that YouTube is looking to take away. That's basically the only thing I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, hopefully, if anybody's listening in the chat, just tell me if my volume is up high enough now. No, you don't have to sign up for anything on www.feedthebadger.com. Just hit the email and put your email in there. And I will figure out a way to send you guys push notifications or something, some way to get a hold of you guys. when the inevitable comes down and you're no longer able to find us on YouTube. And we may still be uploading to YouTube, but you can't find us because you do a search on Honey Badger Radio. And, oops, nope. All you get is Honey Badger Radio. Don't give a shit. That Randall narration, and that's it. We're gone. It's entirely likely that will happen. So go there. Go to feedthebadger.com now and sign up for something else. Okay, that's the PSA. Okay. Do you want to start the?
Yeah.
Do we want to watch the people who are going to become our new overlords? We cannot question.
I think we do. You know what? But I think people are questioning them. If you look at the like to dislike ratio on this particular video, it's as abysmal as any Anita Sarkeesian video out there. I was actually quite heartened by that.
Takes me back to the BuzzFeed race baiting and sex baiting videos of yore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, all right, let's get started.
Hey friends!
What's up, family?
Morning, guys!
Oh, fuck off!
Meet the YouTube.
Did you stop this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it just annoyed the crap out of me in like the first 5 seconds. Family?
2 seconds.
Oh, no. What I loved was Francesca. Hey, friends! Okay, I don't know if you've been paying attention, Allison. Okay, because you don't generally do YouTube drama.
Internet drama in general.
But, Andy Worski and Armored Skeptic, both of them uploaded multiple lengthy videos talking about how Francesca Ramsey essentially pretended to befriend them in order to learn shit about them, manipulate them into giving her their Achilles heels and all of that, and kept the fiction of the friendship going through VidCon. And then she went on a podcast where she essentially said, yeah, no, I'm not friends with them. I'll never be friends with them. They're disgusting, horrible people. And they're awful, and they're horrible. And I was just trying to find insider information on them and find out. And, and they told me things about their lives and their deepest, darkest hurts and all of these things. Apparently, Andy Worski was he was severely abused as a child, right? And she's saying, and that's why he's such a misogynist, disgusting pig now, right? And it's like, he wouldn't have shared that with you if he'd known you weren't actually his friend, you disgusting, horrible cunt. So
can I just say something?
Hey, friends.
Can I just say something to that? And this is not me. I take no pleasure in this, but I don't know why they thought she was nice. I cannot for the life of me imagine why they think or thought that people who believe that they are bad people by virtue of their skin color or by virtue of the fact that they are male, and they will talk about it in front of a crowd of millions for a living. I don't know how you would think that these are good people just because you confronted them and then suddenly they became cordial to you because you're in front of them in face to face with this person. It's almost like they weren't skeptical of her intentions, and they should have been. And I'm sorry, but that's really naive.
Can I just? I want to say something. I know I'm annoying you, Karen. But people who need to hate a group, like not just criticize. I mean, we do a lot of criticizing of women's behavior, mostly just criticizing the fact that they're not held to a standard, and it shows. The people who need to hate. I do not hate women. I work with well, I don't know. I guess you're more like 1/4 of a woman, Karen. 3/4 twink. All right. Well, or maybe shaved bear.
Something like that.
Something like that. All right. I most of my friends are women, And it's always been that case. I've never really been that has not been something I sought out. It's just been something that sort of worked out that way.
That's something a sexist would say.
Is it?
I have black friends. No, I'm kidding.
No. I think society should be colorblind. That means I'm a racist, right? Yeah,
Okay. What I'm getting at is people who need a group to hate are not nice people.
No.
And usually, even before all the social justice warrior, nobody liked racists. Nobody. Because they were fucking assholes. Racists, people who hate people based on superficial features like skin tone and gender and other shit like that. People who hate people based on that and express hatred towards them usually are assholes in other aspects of their lives as well. Because needing a hate sink generally means something is wrong with you in your emotional landscape. And you're not just going to target that hate sink. You also target other people around you for anger, hatred, and abuse. So, and this is what really gets me about the social justice warrior narrative. Nobody ever liked the racists. In certain periods of time, we tolerated them, but nobody ever liked them. Okay, I just wanted to get that off my chest. And yeah, if Francesca Ramsey needs a group to hate, I'm guessing that there's something fucked up going on inside of her.
I do want to say, right, because I'm still approaching the whole Lacey Green thing with caution, right? Because as far as I know, she hasn't challenged any of her core beliefs, and she hasn't spoken to anyone who would require her to do that. She's spoken to people who are perfectly happy talking about the behavior and the tactics, right? There are no bad tactics, there are only bad targets, that kind of thing, right? But that has nothing to do with someone's belief system. Both sides of any argument are going to be prone to that, depending on what the argument is and who is perceived to be dominant in that argument, right? So when you actually have a group that is dominant, right, they can use whatever tactics they want, and there are no bad tactics, there are only bad targets, right? Whereas when you have the underdog, right, who's coming up and they have to behave much better, and they know it, and I think that they honestly believe that they would not behave in that way if they actually achieved a dominant position in the argument. But I don't know that that's the case, right? So this is just normal human behavior, this sort of hypocrisy that you see on both sides of a given argument. But she hasn't actually rethought any of the core assumptions at the basis of her ideology, and I don't think that she's wanting to do that. So I'm approaching her with caution, but at the same time, I think she's, right from the start, she's been genuine enough that I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that, I think she's actually trying, right? I think she's actually trying. But Francesca Ramsey has been such an absolute, just like so ridiculous, right? Like you look at Lacey Green's complaints, in terms of, how she has always tried to acknowledge other people's perspectives and always tried to spare people's feelings and always tried to do this. And I think that she genuinely has always done that. And then when she tries her hardest to do that and she still gets attacked by trans people or by, whoever, right, her cohorts within feminism, for not doing enough to allow for the feelings of and accommodate the feelings of these marginalized groups and all of the rest of it, right? I think she's because she genuinely has tried and then she's still getting attacked. I think that she's coming at it because I don't see Francesca Ramsey getting attacked from within at all. At all. I see the only attacks on Francesca Ramsey coming from outside, and they are easily demonizable, easily vilifiable, easily called scum, vermin, pestilence, the whole bit, right? By her, right? And because she has not actually come to that place, why would she reach out? What motivation?
No, she has no reason to. She's bigger than they are.
Could she have possibly had to reach out to anybody on our side?
No, there's none. From what I understand, essentially what happened was she was more or less confronted. I mean, I wouldn't put it that aggressively, but basically, Andy came across her. He approached her, and talked to her. Tried to be friendly, wanted to extend an olive branch. All of that sounds great, They sat down, they talked for a while, then he took a picture with her. I think that he wanted to put a picture up on the internet of them, taking a photo together so people be like, oh my God, what does this mean? Everything's going to be healed. And I'm like, no, you don't talk to somebody for a half an hour and then you fix everything. This person is not going to change her views just because that happened. And even at that moment, there was a lot of optimism around it. Andy was like, she's going to come on my channel and we're going to hash it out. And I'm like, no, why would she do that? There's no reason for her to do that.
You're literally talking about a situation where a minor lord approached King Joffrey, in an audience, right? And why would King Joffrey have any reason to compromise, to meet that person halfway, whatever, right? Not at all. Not at all.
It was like the next day that she was.
Reasons.
Yeah, it was like the next day that she was up there. That the same Francesca was up there saying, "I'm holding a microphone and you're not." So I get to talk, right? It's the same person.
Yeah. There's a reason I have a microphone and you don't.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so because you have to look at people's position, you have to look at people's potential motivations, right? And it's there is no reason why somebody who's sitting on that unassailable throne would feel any requirement or burden or obligation to meet any of the disgusting plebs, the peasants, halfway.
I wonder if this is how it felt like to be a serf in the Middle Ages. Did the lords of the manor, did the ladies of the manor just, on high, put a hand to their brow and say, you disgusting oppressors down there. You're just oppressing us up here, because it's astounding to me that they can stand on high and still say we're oppressed.
Yeah, they can actually have the point of view, the default point of view at every single panel at VidCon, right? And still say they're the ones whose voices are marginalized. I'm sorry, that's not how it works, but on top of that, one of the things, because, you wonder if this is what it feels like to be a serf. Yes, a serf under a lord who's violating every single code of lordship. Yes, right? But there was something called noblesse obligée. There was something called, a reciprocal duty on the part of the upper class, right, on the part of the nobility to their subjects, and they were expected to do it. And if they were shitty people, right, they lost social cachet among their own group. They had an obligation to behave with honor. They had a code of behavior that was essentially, it formed the warp and the weft of the social order and allowed everything to function. And violating that, whether you're violating it from below by dressing above your station and being a pretender above your station, or whether you're violating it from above, right, and refusing aid and succor to your subjects and all of those things, right, if you were viewed as violating that, whether you were a serf or a noble, right, you got a bad reputation, right? But I don't think that necessarily, because it's like V said, you can have a welfare state if you have a culture of duty. right? Yes, you absolutely can have a welfare state if you have a culture of duty. You have to have a culture that's built around people's obligations toward one another and people's responsibilities toward one another in order to have any of that. And what you have now is you have this group who are actually in a position of social dominance, who are saying that they are the victims, they are marginalized, they are being oppressed by people who have no power, right? And that gives them license to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yep. They have absolutely no responsibility to anyone but themselves. And you know what, Francesca? You're on the top. You're on the top of the heap.
And
I
you
know
ain't my
it.
fucking friend or anybody else's.
No, you're nobody's friend. You're on the top of the heap. You are up on the top. You are the boss lady. You're the one who rules. And
Yeah.
I see it, and everyone listening to us sees it. Everybody watching this video sees it. We see that you're in charge. We are not going to comply with your edicts, but we know that you have the power and you have the privilege. And you're not going to lie and pretend that you don't, at least not to us. Okay.
Shall we?
Shall we continue?
All right,
Yes.
let's try to get through this cringeworthy opening.
Friends. What's up, family?
Morning, guys!
Let me get straight to the point, yeah?
Meet the YouTube Creators for Change. 39 global creators representing 9 countries. We're more than just style vloggers and comedians. We're using our voices for social change.
Okay, I'm just stopping it for the.
It does seem very diverse, except for that. Well, I guess, in the global sense, there might be, because I think I saw one white guy and then I saw a lot of tones and various shades of brown and stuff, right? And it might actually be that on a global level, white people only count for, 10% or whatever. Of
well, they are in the minority globally, yes.
yeah.
Although I fear that this diversity push seems like we're not going to be getting a lot of diversity of ideas. It's just going to be a lot of people.
This is a palette swap.
Yeah, these are palette swaps. Exactly.
This is a palette
the same
swap
shit.
of the same fucking person.
Yeah.
You're palette swapping the same person and calling it diversity. Bullshit.
Well, and I was just watching a TED Talk interview, not TEDx, but TED, with Jonathan Haidt, and he said that essentially right now, we're concentrating on race, we're concentrating on sexual orientation and things like that. So we're so focused on those things, but the biggest divide in Western society these days is the political divide. It is not, and the biggest generator of stereotypes and prejudice and vilification and othering and all of the tribalistic boundaries it's not color, it's not sexual orientation, it's not gender, right? It is political orientation, it is political belief, right? And so essentially he said that, this should be the number one focus, to try to find a way to reconcile people of differing political opinion and belief, right? Find some way to depolarize the discussion, the way we did with race, the way we did with class, the way we did with, sexual orientation, all of those things, right? To depolarize that, that should be the primary civil rights movement of the next 50 years, right? But it's not going to be, because we're so focused on race and these other issues.
It's not just like the right versus the left, too. The fact is that I honestly think that if we did brain studies on enough people, we would find that there is probably a spectrum, but a slightly polar thing going on with the people who are really easy. The authority tells them something, and they're like, "Yep, I picked that up. I understand it. I'm going off to the races with it." And people who just can't do that, because I'm in the category of just can't do it. Somebody in authority tells me shit, unless I can understand the logic behind it, it doesn't become my reality. And I'm pretty sure, just judging from my own experiences, that this is probably something genetic, and in the brain. So in other words, we are like our own. To not be too ridiculous, we're like our own fucking race, except we don't have a color, we don't have a gender, we don't have an orientation, we just have a brainscape that doesn't work like theirs does.
Well,
and
it's like Jordan Peterson said, you know, political affiliation corresponds almost precisely to two big five traits, which is trait openness and trait conscientiousness, right? And so depending on where you fall on those two traits, that's an incredibly good predictor of where you're going to fall on the political spectrum, right? So, you know, and you can be open and conscientious, and that would probably be the libertarian, you know, the maybe fiscal conservative, social libertarian kind of person, right?
Yeah, right.
You know, so
I'm thinking about doing a live stream where I take that big five personality test on my channel, like at some point. So we'll see I want to see where I end up.
You have a channel?
Yeah, I know. I have a channel.
Okay.
It's a little bitty channel, but
okay,
it's there. Okay, shall we continue? I want to get through these brown people and find out what the point is. This fucking guy with this shirt, dude. Holy shit. Oh, okay.
You're just not, you know, like
because I am brown, I can say that.
Well, no, but it's not just that. You're obviously not. You're like, yeah. These people are brown. This doesn't excite me.
Because the thing is, that's all I know about them. All I know about them is they're not white. And then they're saying that, like, this is like, oh, this is this incredible thing. We're going to change the world with these non-white people. And I'm like, who are they? Why do I give a shit? What are your ideas? What do you think about this? Circumcision's not going to change. Male suicide's not going to fucking change. Not with these types of people that the only thing they seem to be concerned about is, I don't know, what people think of them in terms of their fucking, like, they want to touch their hair, or what kind of clothes they expect them to wear, or people culturally appropriating their burritos, or whatever. I don't give a shit about that. Those are not issues. That's not actually moving towards anything. It's a waste of time. So, no, I don't care. Anyway, but let's get through it and see. Maybe they'll surprise me.
Inspired by hope, empowered by YouTube, we speak our truth against intolerance, hate, and extremism.
You know what? You don't speak out against hate, intolerance, and extremism when you're talking about, like I just laid out, people who are people who think differently, and not just are different politically, but literally think differently. You're all about exactly the same type of brain, exactly the same type of way of thinking.
Well,
and
okay,
that way
Allison,
of thinking.
Allison,
that way of thinking. Sorry, go ahead. Right, what?
Allison, if you were to say, I think differently, I'm autistic, or I think differently, I have an anxiety disorder, right? And therefore I am, you know, differently abled in that regard. I have a handicap. You know, you'd be in their progressive stack. But no, what you're saying is, I think differently. I think there should be a culture of responsibility and accountability. I think differently. I think that the gender should be held to the same standards. I think differently. I think that, you know, that we should have compassion for the people who've been portrayed as our oppressors for the last 150 years, right? So those thoughts, that's another story. So.
Well, I think differently, and the thing is that, and again, just going back to this idea of this different brain types, for me, when somebody says you can't question that, or you're a bad person, that makes me question it. For a lot of people, it seems to be that turns off their curiosity, and they just move away from it. And that goes for even things that the skeptic community has held on to, like class warfare between men and women, with men winning anywhere in the world or in the past. I don't care if you think I'm a horrible person for saying, when was that decided? I don't really recall being brought to that particular meeting and seeing the evidence. for that particular
when was the
assertion.
trial? When was the
What
trial?
was the trial? Yeah, when was that decided? And then in response, I get called a bad person. Not that I'm saying that it is necessarily one way or the other. Not that I'm saying that the trial has been decided. Just saying, when was it? Why wasn't I invited? And if I don't get to see the fucking minutes of the trial, I'm not going to fucking come to your conclusion. Sorry, no. And because of that, I can't, it hurts more to comply to somebody saying you believe this or you're a bad person than it does to question it and just let them call me a bad person. And yeah, if you're going to present something and you, as an fait accompli, that, oh yeah, this conclusion is the conclusion, or you are a terrible person for not believing it or not agreeing with it, I don't even know if I agree with it, but just presenting it as this is the only conclusion with no work. You don't show your work, I'm not going to agree with you. And it doesn't matter how much of a bad person you call me. Fuck off! All right.
Okay.
I know that it's scary, but we have to have these hard conversations because that's the only way that people are going to learn and grow.
Because she just, like, what is likely the case when she says, I know that it's scary, but we have to keep having these conversations, that is usually what immediately follows an insult to you because you're white. Or that's usually how it goes. It's basically like, you know, your group of people are bad people for these reasons, and it's your fault that this happened all through history. And I know that it feels really uncomfortable and it's scary, but I'm sorry, we have to keep having these conversations. And by conversations, I mean I tell you what you need to do to change because you're born into original sin, and this is going to continue happening not until you fix it, but it's going to continue happening for all eternity because you can never fix it. If there's something that we've learned from feminism, it's that the crimes that men have done and that patriarchy has done via original sin are never ending. It is a never ending process of trying to fix shit, and then it just keeps moving forward. And you take the same thought process and you apply it to any kind of social justice warrior activism, and it's just a palette swap. You're just changing men into whites, or whites into gays, or I'm sorry, straight people, or cis people, or whatever. People that are not disabled, people who make a reasonable amount of money.
Whites,
you know,
or whites into gay men because they have male privilege.
Yeah. So that's usually what happens is you have somebody saying, I'm sorry that I upset your fragile sensibilities, but you're not oppressed like me, so fuck your feelings. It's basically what it is.
Well, what drives me crazy about this is, like, because there is no end point for this, you know, at least in terms of feminism, because when you have Gloria Steinem saying, you know, like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, whenever it was she was interviewed for this that I watched, and I wish I could find it again. I'll go looking for it again, but you know, she's talking about women's historical oppression, and then, you know, somebody says to her, the interviewer says to her, well, are women still oppressed? And she says they're more oppressed than ever. And he says, or the woman says, and she says, oh, yeah, they have to juggle, you know, work and kids and career and family and all of this stuff, and they're more stressed out than ever, and blah, 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 right? And it's all these things that feminism created, right, that makes women more oppressed now, according to Gloria Steinem, than they were 400 years ago, right? So literally, we've had 150 years of feminism. Women are more oppressed than they ever have been after all of these gains and advances in women's rights, where women have more legal rights than men, right? Women are more oppressed than ever because of feminism. And the solution to that is apparently more feminism. So how do we ever get to a fucking point where feminism says our work is done?
Right back.
No exit strategy. There is no exit strategy to feminism. It's an ongoing forever mission, because it's not possible for men to ever be in a situation of not privilege. It doesn't matter what situation men are in. They cannot possibly be anything but privileged.
Oh, if you literally had a genocide, right? Like a gender side where, like, feminists actually did take control of the government and reduce the population of males down by like 90%, right? So then you would have those 10% of males. Of course, they would have certain privilege, right? Because they're the only males in existence. They're a hot commodity now. There's a scarcity, right? They can demand on the sexual marketplace. They can make all kinds of demands and not give any kind of reciprocal benefit, right? Because of the fact that they are so scarce, right? And so you would literally have feminists saying women are being oppressed by the fact that men are so scarce that women actually have to pay men to have sex with them or whatever, right? That's literally what you would have.
Let's get another few seconds in.
Okay, let's
looking at the clock.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
And grow. And the first place that it starts is in your community.
We're sharing our culture, representing our communities, and opening minds one video at a time.
The Muslim women scene right now is popping. This much like innovation.
Wait, when you say poppin', do you mean exploding? I'm sorry, I just had to say.
Oh dear.
She said the Muslim woman scene is popping.
Okay.
I'm sure it is.
I would expect nothing better from a shipwrecked Mexican like you. Unbelievable.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shame on you,
but
Brian.
here's the question, Karen. I mean, because he's Puerto Rican, can we say, Brian, you're a horrible person for saying that? You're a horrible racist, because now we're racist for saying that a Puerto Rican could do anything wrong.
You're racist for doing that because you shamed me, but I'm racist because I shamed her because Muslims rank higher than Hispanics. But at the same time, though, you can take some pity on me because I am just a poor, low-income Puerto Rican brown man and probably don't know any better. Therefore, I should be forgiven for all of my sins regarding this joke because I don't know any better. You should just hold me to a lower standard than everybody else. So yeah.
All right, well, we'll do.
The Islam scene is poppin'.
Okay.
It's poppin'.
It's poppin'. That's what she said.
Like popcorn.
That's what she said.
Isn't this
activism taking place amongst Muslim women right now? That's something that we should absolutely empower and support every possible way that we can.
So we can create allies and promote.
Well, there you go.
Okay, but wait a second. So what is the activism among Muslim women? What are they doing?
They are essentially.
But not.
No, wait. Muslim women are spreading the power of the hijab and Islam to other people. Telling them to put it on is a sign of empowerment, and to essentially, follow Sharia law is a way of it's empowering. All this stuff is empowering. Be what do they call it? A jihadi bride, and it's like the best thing. It's so feminist, guys. It's so feminist, which it is.
Okay, but maybe the conversation is about that one conversation that I watched. You could put the link in the low bar, but it was a German journalist interviewing a bunch of Muslim women, and these Muslim women were saying things like, "I feel pity for Western women because they have so many responsibilities, and their men don't do anything for them. I have." Like when I lived in England, I lived in London for 6 months, and I had to carry out my own trash, and that was just horrible. And these Western women have to do this every day, and no man would offer to carry it for me, right? Which is what would happen where I'm from. And then they said, we don't believe that men and women are equal. We simply believe that they deserve equal rights. I don't want, and this is a direct quote, I don't want all the worries and responsibilities of a man. I just want my equal rights.
Well, there you go.
Okay, well that's definitely socially sustainable. Thank you. Like, can we continue?
Yeah, let's do it.
Our messages of positivity.
About a year ago, I was working on a project to help young kids stay away from terrorism. YouTube and Google
together sign me as their ambassador. I hope that that will inspire others, because that was probably one of the best things that has ever happened.
Okay, well,
And
this
it's
is
been-
decent, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't have
like
a problem
this.
with that. I don't have a problem
No
with that.
problem with this, except
No.
that your cuts, your jump cuts, I have a problem with your jump cuts. They're excessive.
Yeah, and you sound like you're on helium, but otherwise it's fine. Like I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board with helping young people stay away from terrorism. Absolutely, 100%. And on that note, I'm really annoyed that the Canadian government decided to give Omar Khadr over $10 million in a settlement because of how he was treated at Gitmo, which was not even the doing of the Canadian government. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to. I don't really.
you
I
don't
have
know.
to-
I
I know a lot of people are pissed off. but I
Yeah,
have to
no,
look
a lot
more
of people
into
are pissed. A lot of people are pissed off because this kid went over when he was 15, trained with Al Qaeda, fought against Canadian and American forces, killed people, and was taken captive and was held in Gitmo. But his entire family is, all frickin'. They all have connections with Hezbollah and Hamas and all of these terrorist organizations. So it's not like he was just some young 15-year-old who, met some imam in, by chance in passing or whatever and got radicalized. No, he's part of a radical Islamist family, right? That is in.
Hold on, guys.
Brian comes back. Are you
Okay,
there, Brian?
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, can you do Jordan Peterson, clean your room? Because I feel this. That's the last criticism I have of this guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It looks like you got chaos creeping into your room. You should clean it. Help organize your life, and then you can organize the lives of others. You start with your own little piece of paradise and create it.
I'm looking at my living room, guys, and I'm seeing a McDonald's French fry container chewed up, several shopping bags chewed up, a Kleenex box chewed up, several Kleenexes chewed up, multiple shopping bags chewed up,
And a bloated dog.
and a dog who seems to think all of that is food.
Sounds to me like you need to wash your ass as well as clean your room.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Okay,
All right,
we've
let's
got
get
like
through the rest of
24
this.
seconds.
All right, let's
do
do
it.
it.
Amazing. We're stepping out of the screen to get involved and connecting with a global audience millions strong.
Me being a Pakistani Muslim myself, I can relate to it quite a lot. So the stuff he says, it's personal as well.
Every one of us has a voice. How will you use yours?
Oh, well,
Wait,
actually,
was Tom Green the only acceptable white dude to put in this video? Because I swear he shows
Yeah, I
up
think
like
so.
3 times. Is
Yeah.
that Tom Green or the other Green? I can't really tell. I don't know which one that
it's
was.
one of the greens.
It's one of
One
the
of the
Green brothers.
Greens.
Yeah.
Okay, can I just... yeah, everybody has a voice except us.
I was gonna say these are the people that YouTube is saying they're okay. This is the content that they want to curate. Did you guys hear about, for example, did you guys hear about the video? There was a video up that was on YouTube's trending. When you go to the YouTube main page, let's say you go in, you're not logged in, right? And so nobody's logged in, you just go to YouTube's main page, and they have like a trending bar, and there are videos there that are supposedly the ones everyone's watching, so they probably should have millions of views. There was a video up there, it was a Miley Cyrus one. I think she's either in an interview or I didn't watch it because fuck Miley Cyrus, but there was a video there that was on the trending feed. It had been up for about an hour and only had about 15,000 views, and it was on their trending bar. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's important to note that YouTube's trending bar and the stuff that they show you, it's not something that is working off of some... it's curated. It's not something that's working on some automatic system. That Milo
It's not an algorithm.
Yeah, that
counting
Miley Cyrus thing
like-
shouldn't have been up there, right? That's why if you go to YouTube Trending, you go to their main page, you'll never see videos from content creators that they don't like, or that they, for whatever reason. Like, you'll never see, I don't know, you'll never see Alex Jones up there, even though he has he's getting, I think he's up, coming close to 300 million subs now, or not 300, sorry, 3 million subs. Now, I mean, say what you want about the guy, but if you have enough people sub to you that are watching your content, it should probably show up as trending if people like the Young Turks or, you know, fucking, I don't know, anybody else who's really big on YouTube shows up, and they don't even get as many views as that. So take that and then couple it with this video, which is basically saying these are the content creators we're going to put a spotlight on and try to grow their content because we like what they're doing.
We're going to put a spotlight on them because they have no voice, even though they're backed by MTV and, you know, and, like, I don't get it.
Viacom and shit.
Yeah, I don't fucking, like, you are the establishment, you fuckers. Do you not see this? Nothing that you are saying is pissing off the man. Nothing you're saying is pissing off the man. Because you look at your like-dislike bar, right? You look at that, and YouTube is still willing to fucking sit down and sponsor you and fucking promote you and all of this shit, right? You're a fucking corporatist. That's what you are.
Man is signing your checks.
Right? Because you're not getting audience feedback. You're not getting views because people like you, right? You're not getting views because you have a message that resonates with the grassroots. No, you have a message that corporations love.
Yep.
Yep. And big government. Anything that's, you know.
Well, corporations love big government because corporations are able to purchase fucking government influence, right? And that's the fucking frustrating thing is like capitalism on its own would be great. Socialism on its own would be, well, I mean, like, it wouldn't be great, but it would be one thing. Socialism on its own would be another thing, right? But when you have a combination of big socialist government and these huge corporations who can buy influence in that government, right, then you got a problem. Because now it's not government that's in charge of you. Government is just the people with the guns. Right? Okay? And the corporations are the woman on the end of the phone dialing 911 and lying and said her husband beat her.
Yep.
Okay.
The video's over basically, so.
Is it? Let's just do the final few seconds.
Okay.
Just for completion's sake. Oh, nothing. Oh yeah, it's just the creators for change. People we want on YouTube. For diversity.
Yeah.
This is our palette swap, everyone.
Yeah. They're going to change things because their brands of politics have never been tried before. Yes, they have. This is not new. If you want to try something new, try advocating for men's issues. Try that.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
Fucking.
You want to try something that's never been done before, try that shit.
Yeah.
But no.
Give that a go.
They're not that progressive. We don't want to go too crazy here.
We don't want to rock the boat.
No.
Brian. We just want to hit we want to use it as an advertising slogan basically. We don't want to actually change anything. We just want to appear like we're changing things.
Well,
and there you go.
It's all
and then
talk.
slap it on a t-shirt.
All talk with no change in sight. No, there is nothing that could be given to the people to these people that they're asking for that could possibly make them stop asking for shit.
But we've got brown people saying all the things we like to say instead of white people saying all the things we like them to say. So
take us more seriously.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. They're all saying the same shit, but it's different. This is what VidCon was, Karen. That's the funny thing about it. Look, when we went, okay, VidCon was 3 layers of stuff going on. One was the people that we were there to see, which I overall enjoyed. You know, I got to meet the other content creators, got to meet Sargon and Vernaculus and other people and hang out with them and Computing Forever and so on. It was great. All right, that was like the the thing that I wanted to do the most. So it was like the most prominent layer of shit. The next one down was the panels. And at the panels, you had your Francesca Ramseys and your Kat Blacks and your Anita Sarkeesians and your Jenks, and they were up there on their stage saying stuff. And you know you're not going to meet them, or at least you're not likely to, but you're going to see them live and in the flesh. You can say, holy shit, this is a real person. And they're going to talk about the stuff they care about, which is all stupid. It's all stupid. Like, I wish I could control everyone's minds to make them behave the way I want them to, but I can't. I don't have that kind of totalitarian power, so I'm going to sit up on the stage and I'm going to bitch about it. And if anybody challenges me, I'm going to both cry victim and also claim my superior status as a speaker at VidCon at the same time and not be aware of how dumb that is. And then the third layer is essentially 16-year-old girls running around chasing people I've never heard of. But that was the background noise of all of VidCon. But the second one, the speakers, that was pretty much the whole thing. And when I look at this YouTube for Change, it feels the same. It's like, while we were at VidCon, right? Mm-hmm. At one point, at a speaking engagement that I couldn't see, it was about journalism. Tim Pool, who you might know as like this on-the-ground independent journalist, he charged the stage. He didn't charge the stage, but he basically approached the people that were speaking about journalism, who obviously were being more like activists and less like journalists, which is basically what journalism is these days. And he accused them of their, he basically pointed out their bias and their bullshit. And he's like, you guys are fucking journalism up. And people like Francesca went to Twitter and bitched that people were doing that and disrupting talks. And she basically was like, why don't they just order a table and get one set up, and then they can talk about whatever they want. They can have a panel themselves and just discuss this stuff. Well, that sounds fine, except that Tim Pool did try to do that, and VidCon did not allow him to, because he was not in the club. He was not a part of the group of people that they found to be of the right kind of people. So, because I just watched a video on Bering's channel where Chrisiosity had said, if you're going to complain that all the panels were coming from one political perspective, then you should have done the legwork. You should have done the paperwork and, set up your own panel discussion, applied to hold a panel yourself, right? And but nobody did that, and the guy who was arguing about, or complaining that it was all one political perspective, he said, well, I don't know if anybody actually tried that or not, right? So if Tim Pool tried that and was rejected as a panelist or as setting up a panel on, free speech or independent journalism or whatever, then Chrisiosity's got nothing to fucking talk about, because there was definitely there were definitely people trying to set up an independent panel on VidCon so that they could talk about the stuff they cared about, and they did not get to, because they weren't in the inner circle of people that are basically allowed to have panels. That's why the majority of the panels there were either social justice ones, or they were like these teeny bopper panels for, like, here's a new YouTuber, or here's my new beauty channel, or whatever. The stuff that's really, really innocuous and harmless and will likely get a panel, or it's this SJW shit. Yeah, no, any panel with any kind of political agenda is, like you're... Yep. I mean, we did have a panel discussion at South by Southwest, right? Mm-hmm. On Gamergate, and that went off okay. But, there were, they searched my bag every time I went in. And I went in and out quite a bit because I'm a smoker. And there were dogs. Right? There were fucking Rottweilers there, sniffing for bombs and stuff, right? And so, I mean, in order to even have that panel, right, there had to be something like 16 police officers there in the building from the moment it opened in the morning, right, to the time of the panel, through the panel, and then afterwards. And they searched everybody going in. Every single person.
and they had bomb sniffing dogs there the whole time. Not like in Miami during airplay, where SPJ airplay, where you had they swept the venue with bomb sniffing dogs the night before and the morning of, and then they just had normal security provided by the hosts of the panel. No, they actually had police there because of what happened at that previous panel. They had police there the entire time, the entire full day, right? And bomb sniffing dogs as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, like, and you're gonna tell me, Chrisiosity, that it's just super easy. We just have to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, we can get a huge platform if we just flex that privilege.
Yeah.
That MRA privilege. You know how well we do even when we organize our own fucking events. That always goes over well, and we never have to relocate or find like some hidden little pocket somewhere, and hopefully when we do a meetup in the same area, it doesn't get bomb threats. Yeah, that never happens. We don't have a problem getting a platform at all. Ever.
Ever.
All right, Allison, do you want to move on to the article?
Let's just go to the after show, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because
the article we discussed at the beginning. So,
Yeah.
and if you're listening, you want to hit us up with the after show, www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. Yes, we are still on Patreon and will be for the near future. But we are going to be talking about Jack Conte and Patreon in the after show. We're going to be going through, and I'm probably going to be screaming something about him vibrating about every 2 seconds, because he vibrates a lot. Quite a bit.
Who?
Jack Conte, the founder of Patreon.
Yeah.
He just sort of vibrates, and I don't know why.
He's slightly out of sync with our current temporal dimension. Like he's like the Flash, like just kind of in between spaces a little bit. That's why I think he's vibrating between dimensions, the third and the fourth.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. But...
You'll know soon enough. So www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. Hey, somebody said in chat, it's the same thing why MRAs can't fund or manage men's shelters. The hell does that mean? Is that shade?
I don't know.
No, I don't
I wouldn't
think
take it that way.
I don't think so. I think it's that we can't get... The only people who are going to give to something like that are MRAs, right? We're not going to get corporate support, right? And that's the thing, right? Like, because you have Walk a Mile in Her Shoes and all of these other things to support women's shelters, and they're all sponsored.
They can do that. They can do that, but they cannot give men who are victims of sexual violence services.
Yeah, no, but they have corporate sponsors. So your local Safeway and your local YWCA and all of these other organizations are willing to put their names on that, right? And put their money behind it. And they're willing, like when you go to the grocery store and they say, would you like, when you go to pay and they're like, would you like to donate to, Cops for Cancer or whatever, right? Or the Stollery Children's Hospital or whatever cause that Safeway or Sobeys or Superstore or whatever is collecting for, right? They'll ask you that at the till, and you can say, oh, I'll give $2 to that, whatever, right? Do you even think that there is a corporation out there?
The answer is no.
That is willing to say, would you be willing to donate $5 to Cafe to fund a men's domestic violence crisis hotline and shelter? No, they're not going to do it. Right?
No.
Okay, I've depressed ourselves. Let's go to the after show.
Okay,
Sorry,
the guy who made that comment clarified that it's not throwing shade. He's being clear. He says the MRAs are screwed by the establishment, which is why MRAs are limited in their ability to help men financially. So there you go.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But there is a lot of shade being thrown around, and it's really ironic because...
Oh, yeah, no, it's like don't pay Brian a living wage. set up a men's shelter. Like, if we can barely pay Brian a living wage, how are we supposed to fucking set up a house where we can house 16 men and their children?
Yeah, I know. And the other thing is that Aaron Pizzi is successfully set up a women's shelter, and she could not set up a men's shelter. What makes you think? And that was before a lot of this dialogue about any kind of talk about men's issues being somehow ripping the heart out of a little girl, like a 4-year-old little girl, just
and then
stabbing
eating
it, and then eating it. That was before that was like the dialogue, and she couldn't do it, and she'd already successfully established a shelter. It's like, Anyway, okay, I'm fucking depressed. Let's go look at Jack Conte.
Okay.
His constant vibration may actually cheer me up.
Poor man's Vsauce.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go.